The story begins inside a conference room. A young woman stands at the center, calmly translating between Chinese and Korean. Her name is Jeon. She's not just any interpreter, she's the bridge between two nations. Through her work, she plays a key role in Korea's foreign relations. Even top government officials respect her professionalism. But right in the middle of a meeting, her phone rings. She hesitates, then answers. A calm voice says, "We've finally found the person we've been searching for all these years." Jeon freezes. She grabs her bag, wraps up the meeting, and rushes out of the building. Because for 10 years, she's been looking for someone. And today, that search is finally over. Now the story takes us back 30 years ago to a small neighborhood in Incheon, South Korea. A man named Doo-seok walks through narrow alleyways. He's a loan collector, cold, strict, and always by the book. With him is his assistant, Jong-bae. They're trying to find a woman who owes the bank money. Her name is Mongja. After searching all day, they finally spot her. She's holding her little girl's hand, walking quietly through the street. That little girl is young Jeon. Doo-seok walks up fast and shows Mongja the bank notice. "You must repay your loan. No more delays." Mongja pleads with a heavy voice. "Please, my husband just passed away. I just need a little more time." But Doo-seok doesn't listen. He raises his voice, scolds her in front of everyone. Little Jeon watches her mother being humiliated, and in that moment, she can't stay silent. She runs up and bites Doo-seok's hand. He yells in pain, furious. Then, in the struggle, his hand accidentally hits Mongja's forehead. Jeon screams, "This man hit my mom!" People nearby start to gather, but Doo-seok doesn't care. He shouts again. "If you can't pay, then offer something valuable as collateral," Mongja whispers. "I have nothing left." Suddenly, Doo-seok grabs little Jeon into his arms and begins to walk away with her. What happened next would change Jeon's life forever. And now, 30 years later, she's finally close to finding the truth behind everything. He turns to Mongja and says, "Bring the money tomorrow and take your daughter back." But before leaving, Doo-seok makes one promise. He says he'll take good care of the child. As he drives Jeon back to his home, she keeps crying for her mom. Looking at her through the mirror, he says softly, "Hey, I'm not a bad guy. I'll take better care of you than even your mom. You'll get 3 meals a day and all the gifts you want. And as soon as your mom repays the loan, I'll send you back to her." His assistant, Jong-bae, looks confused and asks, "But what if Jeon's mom can't pay the money? Are we going to keep this kid forever?" Doo-seok stays quiet, but deep down he knows no real mother would ever leave her child behind. Over just $750, Doo-seok and Jong-bae bring Jeon home, and Doo-seok does something unexpected. He gives her a new name. From now on, I'll call you Pawn, because pawn means something held as collateral. He even gives up his own bedroom for her to sleep in. But his assistant Jong-bae doesn't like any of this. He can't believe a little girl is now living in their house. That night, poor Jeon cries herself to sleep, alone, scared, missing her mom. Meanwhile, her mother Mongja is doing everything she can to get the money, but no matter what she tries, nothing works. And then a terrible truth is revealed. Mongja isn't a Korean citizen. She had been living in Korea illegally, after secretly entering from China. Now the police know, and they arrest her. She's taken away to be deported. The next day, Mongja doesn't show up with the money, so Doo-seok and Jong-bae get ready to take the girl away again. But Jeon is smart. She tricks them, and escapes from the car in the middle of the road. They search everywhere, but they can't find her. Jeon runs all the way home, hoping her mom will be there. But when she arrives, the house is empty. Her mother is already gone. She cries alone. Hungry and frightened, she opens the fridge and eats whatever food is left, The next day, Doo-seok finds out Mongja is now at an immigration detention center. He goes there to meet her. An immigration officer tells him, "We haven't been able to find her daughter." This news hits Doo-seok hard. He thinks to himself, where could that little girl be? Is she lost in the city? All by herself? When Doo-seok finally sees Mongja, she immediately asks about her daughter. He lies. She's doing fine. Then Mongja gives him a card. This is Ji-yeon's uncle's contact. He'll pay the debt. Once he does, give Ji-yeon to him. She also hands him a pager and a small photo to give her daughter. Meanwhile, Ji-yeon is still out on the streets. Tired. Scared. Still looking for her mom. Night comes, and that's when things get worse. A drug-addicted man tries to grab her. Just in time, Doo-seok shows up. He punches the man away and pulls Ji-yeon into his arms. Crying hard, Ji-yeon tells him she couldn't find her mom anywhere. Doo-seok holds her close and says gently, "Your mom is gone. She left you." Ji-yeon breaks down, her heart shattered, and something inside Doo-seok breaks too. He kneels beside her and whispers, "Don't cry. Your uncle will come soon to take you home." They return to the house, quiet and heavy. Ji-yeon starts doing all the housework on her own. This surprises Doo-seok and even annoys him. He says, "You don't need to do any of this. A rich family will adopt you. They'll send you to school, feed you well, give you a real home. You won't have to worry about anything." But he keeps calling her Pawn, and Ji-yeon gives him a nickname too. She calls him Sum, because Sum means I am the winner. Doo-seok secretly likes the name. He takes her to the mall, buys her beautiful clothes, lets her choose whatever she wants. And slowly, Ji-yeon begins to like him too. That night during dinner, Doo-seok asks, "Is there anything you want to do before your uncle comes?" Ji-yeon's eyes light up. "I want to go to DJ T's concert. She's a huge fan of this DJ." So Doo-seok takes her. After the concert, he surprises her with a CD and cassette of her favorite music. Ji-yeon is overwhelmed with joy. She hugs Doo-seok tightly and says, "Thank you." You see, after years of chasing people for money, Doo-seok had forgotten what it meant to feel, to care, to connect, to love. But this little girl changed that. That night, they share cake. A quiet farewell party. But both of them feel something deep in their hearts. Tomorrow, Ji-yeon will have to leave. And Doo-seok's heart aches too. Somehow, between a cold-hearted debt collector and a child who was never meant to be there, a strange and beautiful bond had grown. The next morning, Doo-seok takes her to the bus stop. Before she leaves, he hands her his pager number. "If you're ever in trouble, use this to call me." Then, just before she gets on the bus, Doo-seok sees a CD player in a nearby shop. He buys the CD player and gives it to Ji-yeon as a gift. Overjoyed, she runs to him and hugs him tightly. For the first time in a long while, Doo-seok feels his heart soften. But just then, a man shows up, claiming to be Ji-yeon's uncle. He says he's come to take her. Ji-yeon looks at him strangely. She doesn't recognize him at all. Doo-seok is confused. The man quickly explains, "It's been a long time since we last met. That's probably why she doesn't remember me." Then, right in front of him, the man transfers the loan money into Doo-seok's bank account. With a heavy heart, Doo-seok hands the girl over. After Ji-yeon leaves, nothing feels the same. Doo-seok can't concentrate. His mind keeps going back to her. His assistant, Jong-bae, notices and says, "Why don't you just talk to her?" But Doo-seok acts tough. "I'm not the kind of man who gets emotional." Still, that night, he sends her a voice message in secret. "It's your Sum. Do you miss me? I'll call you again when I get the chance." And so begins a routine. He sends her messages every day, but there's no reply. Eventually, he tries calling the man who claimed to be Ji-yeon's uncle. The number doesn't lead anywhere. Something doesn't feel right. So Doo-seok tracks down the address linked to that phone number. And the truth finally hits. That man wasn't her uncle at all. He was a human trafficker. He sold orphaned kids to shady places. Doo-seok storms into the man's house and roughs him up. The man confesses everything. He says Jeon was sold to an agent. He doesn't know exactly where she went, but maybe a family took her as a housemaid. But the truth was worse. Much worse. She had been sold to a dance bar. That poor little girl. Now worked as a servant, cleaning floors, scrubbing toilets, no school, no play, no hope. The woman who bought her was a dancer. One day, Jeon asks with innocent eyes, "When will I get to go to school?" The woman laughs cruelly. "You'll never go to school. You'll grow up to do what we do." One evening, while the place is full of drunk customers, Jeon sees her chance. She sneaks away and sends a message to Doo-seok. He gets it and calls back immediately. When he hears her voice, his heart starts to race, but Jeon can barely speak. She whispers, "I'm in pain." "Things are really bad," Doo-seok tells her. "Call me anytime. I'll come get you." But every time she tries, the call doesn't go through. And then he realizes something terrible. He forgot to give her the area code. Meanwhile, back at the dance bar, something horrible happens. A drunk man throws a glass bottle. It hits Jeon's face while she's cleaning. Blood pours from her cheek. Instead of taking her to the hospital, the woman rubs lipstick on the wound. To hide it, not to heal it. Back home, Doo-seok finally realizes the missing code and sends her another page. That night, he waits. And then the phone rings. It's Jeon. She's crying hard. "I'm in danger. Please help me." Hearing her sobs, Doo-seok's eyes fill with tears. He asks for her location and jumps into his car. He drives as fast as he can. When he arrives at the dance bar, he sees her standing by the door, bruised, scared, hurt. Without wasting a second, he breaks a window and storms inside. He runs to her and holds her tight. Both of them cry. Furious, he turns to attack the woman, but Jong-bae holds him back. Doo-seok shouts, "Tell me how much she cost you. I'll pay anything." The woman replies coldly, $4,000. Without thinking twice, Doo-seok says, "I'll bring it to you tomorrow." He goes back, sells his beloved car, and returns with the money. That day, he buys Jeon's freedom. Later at the hospital, the doctor looks at her injury. He says the scar on her face will never heal. Unless she gets surgery. Doo-seok doesn't hesitate. He pays another $900 for plastic surgery. He just wants her to smile again. When he tries to enroll her in school, he's told she's a Chinese undocumented immigrant and that without legal guardianship, they won't accept her. So Doo-seok officially adopts her. Jeon finally starts school, and in her very first exam, she scores 100 out of 100. Doo-seok is overjoyed. One day, Jeon asks him, "Why do you still call me pawn?" "Doesn't that mean something you give away?" Doo-seok smiles gently and replies, "Pawn means something valuable. Something so precious, people entrust it to others with care. That's what you are to me. My pawn. My treasure." Time passed, and the little girl grew up. Jeon became the top student in high school. One day, Mongja quietly visits her school. From a distance, she watches as Jeon proudly introduces Doo-seok as her father. Holding back her tears, Mongja walks away. Because in that moment, she realizes her daughter is safest and happiest with Doo-seok. Now, Jeon is in university pursuing a PhD in Chinese language. The next morning, Doo-seok receives a call from Jeon's grandmother. She tells him that Mongja is seriously ill and could pass away at any time. She wants mother and daughter to meet one last time. Without wasting a second, Doo-seok takes Jeon to the rural village in China where her mother now lives. As Jeon steps into her childhood village, memories flood back. She becomes emotional. At the doorstep, her grandmother hugs her tightly, tears streaming down her face. The little girl she once held is now a grown woman. When Jeon sees her mother again, they embrace and break down in tears, releasing the pain they had both carried for so long. Lowering her head, Mongja says to Doo-seok, "I'll forever be indebted to you. You raised my daughter better than I ever could. She has no regrets left, because her child was raised by a good man." That night, Jeon's grandmother quietly tells Doo-seok, "The doctors say Mongja could pass any day now. Thank you again for making this final meeting happen." Later that night, Mongja makes a request. She asks Doo-seok to try and find Jeon's real father. She thinks he deserves to know that his daughter has grown into an incredible woman. Doo-seok is stunned. He had always believed Jeon's father was dead. He promises her, "I'll do everything I can to find him and bring them together." But deep inside, Doo-seok feels broken. He had always seen himself as Jeon's father. And now, if her biological father returns, would Jeon leave him forever? That fear gnaws at his heart. They return to Korea. One day, Jeon notices Doo-seok's shoes. They're completely worn out. She picks them up and feels a lump in her throat. This man, a complete stranger once, had raised her like a true parent. He never married, never spent on himself. Every penny he earned, every sacrifice he made was for her. So Jeon starts a part-time job, and the moment she gets her first paycheck, she buys a brand new pair of shoes for Doo-seok. Meanwhile, Doo-seok continues his search for Jeon's real father, but the more he searches, the more it hurts. It's hard for him to accept that the man might really be alive. Eventually, he finds him. That evening, Doo-seok takes Jeon to a fancy hotel. Inside, her biological father is waiting. The moment Doo-seok sees them together, he becomes emotional. Without saying much, he quietly leaves and heads home alone. At home, he pours himself a drink. Trying to numb the pain, he whispers to himself, "Maybe I was never meant to be her father. That place belongs to someone else." The thought eats away at him. He wonders, now that she has her real father, will she ever come back to me? Seung-yi scolds him. "Why did you even introduce her to her real dad? You gave that girl your entire life, all your savings, and now, just like that, you handed her over to someone else." But Doo-seok doesn't respond, because that was his love. A love so pure, so selfless. Even if she never saw him as her real father, he had always seen her as his daughter. His eyes fill with tears. He goes into Jeon's room, looks around at all the memories she left behind. He gets lost in the past, wondering if he'll ever see his little girl again. And then, his phone rings. It's Jeon on the other end. Her voice is trembling. Dad, how could you leave me like that?" Hearing her call him Dad for the first time, Doo-seok bursts into tears. Jeon says, "You're my real dad. I want to stay with you forever. I'll never accept some stranger as my father." She begs him to come get her. Both of them are crying now. Doo-seok is overwhelmed with joy. Before heading out, he grabs one thing. Jeon's old CD player. The same one she used to listen to while riding on his motorbike. And then, he starts the engine and rides out into the night to bring his daughter back home. But just a few miles into the ride, Doo-seok suffers a brain stroke while driving. His vision blurs, his grip loosens. The bike spins out of control, he crashes. Meanwhile, Jeon waits, but her father never shows up. From that day forward, Doo-seok disappears. Jeon and Jong-bae spend years searching for him. Every town, every corner, every hospital, but no sign. Nothing. 10 long years pass. Yet still no trace of Doo-seok. The story returns to the present. The phone call Jeon received earlier was from Jong-bae. He had found a lead. A patient named Doo-seok was listed at a hospital. But when they arrive, it's not him. It's someone else. Jung begins to lose all hope, but Jeon refuses. She believes deep down her father is still alive. One day while driving, Jeon sees something on the roadside. a banner that reads, "I am the winner." Her heart skips a beat. That was the name she gave Doo-seok when she was little. Some meaning, "I am the winner." It had always been his favorite word. An idea sparks in her mind. She rushes to the police station and asks them to search for someone using the name Sum. And this time, they finally get a lead. A man using the name Sum had been living in a mental health facility for the past 10 years. They immediately go there. The doctor explains what happened. 10 years ago, Doo-seok had a major bike accident caused by a stroke. He had been ignoring his symptoms for years. Had he gotten help earlier, things might have been different. The doctor hands them a diary. Only 2 words were written inside: Sum and pawn. Seeing those words, Jeon breaks down in tears. A man takes them to Doo-seok's room. He's sitting by the window, staring blankly into the distance. Emotionless. Empty. Jong-bae begins crying. Jeon steps forward and softly says, "Dad, it's me, Jeon." Doo-seok doesn't respond, just keeps staring. Jeon, now sobbing, says, "Dad, I'm your pawn. I'm your daughter." The word pawn seems to echo in his ears. He begins murmuring it over and over. Then slowly he pulls out the old CD player. Jeon sees it, and her voice trembles. "From now on, I'll take care of you, the way you once took care of me." She pulls out the shoes she bought with her first paycheck and kneels to put them on his feet. That's when she notices a folded paper tucked beneath his sock. It's a bank book. Inside, she sees that Doo-seok had been saving money under her name, depositing every month, even in his condition, preparing for her future so she would never be in need. Jeon breaks down completely. This man, who denied himself medical care, food, even warmth, had saved every penny for a girl who wasn't even his by blood. No one could be more selfless or more loving. Tears stream down Doo-seok's face, too. Jeon brings him home, and from then on, she takes care of her father. Years pass. One day, the moment finally arrives. Jeon is getting married. She holds her father's hand, and together, they walk toward the stage. She had always dreamed of giving her father this honor. As they walk, the sound of applause rings through the hall, and something clicks in Doo-seok's mind. His memory starts to return, and then, for the first time in years, he looks at her and says, "Jeon." A peaceful, proud smile appears on his face. The kind of smile every father wears when he gives his daughter away on her wedding day. And with that, this beautiful story comes to a heartwarming end.